In today's theme park experience, we are going to a spooky, haunted theme park in Spookyville. This park contains one of the most unique go-karts that I've seen throughout this contest, utilizing the Spooky Car DLC, which allows us to race through the graveyards and crypts of this spooky theme park. Very fun looking theme park. Let's get right on into it. Hey yo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Park Spotlight Contest Edition. Today we're looking at Spookyville, created by Katerina Kittycat. And here they say, greetings and welcome to Spookyville, a 60 by 60 spooky theme park. The park features 2 flat rides. My first ever dark ride, my first ever go-kart, a hyper-floorless Rex coaster named Ghost Rider, as well as these milestones. This is my first park to feature custom supports, custom pathing, and interactive triggered events. Wow, sounds like you're elevating certain aspects and experimenting with new things, which is always going to help you grow as a builder. Katerina Kittycat was in last year's contest as well, so it's good to see you make a return. Let's dive into this and take a closer look at your park. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome to Spookyville. What is going on with this floor? It's so sparkly. Is that a reshade thing? No, it's not. That must be some sort of TMTK floor. Wow, that's incredible. Well, if you want to add some glitter to your park, what is it? It's a pavement 3.5 meter ground piece. TMTK. I see the haunted alert in the top left corner and Ghostbusters. He waves at us. That's great. Hopefully we don't have any issues with the spookiness. It was not a scenario file from what I recall when I opened it up, so that's good. I am using my foggy, what do you call it, Silent Hill reshade setting. I think it adds a lot to these spooky parks. While you can't see into the distance that far, you can see exactly what you need to while moving forward. But we could take a look at things with the fog turned off towards the end of the video. Wow, look at this floor. Everything's so shiny in this park. You wouldn't expect that from, like, Spooky. Here's the go-kart. We're just gonna jump on it and follow some of these guys around. That's not a very good view. Maybe I could just do this and look around a little bit. Yeah, I love the fact that you went with these, like, Spooky DLC cars. In fact, this is the first time I ever saw them. I honestly didn't even know they existed. When I opened this park up and was grabbing a little bit of the B-roll, I was like, what? How come people haven't done this? I want more spooky go-karts with these cars. They're freaking awesome. Honestly, the first time I've seen this in the 5 years that I've been featuring Planet Coaster parks. 500 plus episodes. Numerous amounts of coasters and rides. Contests. How has this not shown up? So, good job, Katerina, pulling out the first ever here on the show today with this go-kart track. Really cool. Got graveyards, gates, spooky stuff. The fog is really cool, driving through this fog. Ooh. Gives me some ideas, like car rides and go-karts. Somebody needs to make an actual Silent Hill park where I can use this setting on, where you're actually driving past the creepy gas stations and stuff. Or, ooh, Resident Evil, Raccoon City. Please, please, somebody do it. I'll promote you to legend if you do it properly. It has to be done properly. Take some inspiration from the new Resident Evil Raccoon City movie. It was actually really well done based off the video games. Technically based off of Resident Evil 1 and 2. Because I think their timelines are identical. Whatever happened in the mansion, whatever was happening in the police station, I believe was simultaneous on the timeline. So they try to convey that in the movie. So it's a little bit of a 1 and 2. Which would make me believe that the next Resident Evil movie should be the Nemesis, which is take place just outside of Raccoon City, if I remember correctly. Gosh, it's been so long. I've been wanting to go back and play the re-releases of these games. As far as I could tell, though, the only one for the Mansion game was done on GameCube or something a while back, wasn't it? Or did they redo that one as well? Anyways, I'll have to go look into that stuff after. We have another queue for what appears to be a coaster. Or a little spinny ride. It's squeaking. All right, moving along. Ghostbusters. And a spooky cafe. Looking good. It's the Crift Shop. Your first ever spooky dark ride, as mentioned in your introduction there, and the guests seem to be enjoying it or excited for it at the very least. It's quite the wait to get in here. Arachnophobia warning. There are some spiders. Uh-oh. I'm sure I'll be okay. They're only Planet Coaster spiders after all. I'll cut to it when it's ready. Oh, look, there's only one running on this. So that's why oh my God. Turn around, people. Do yourself a favor and get out of here. Whoa. Okay, so even on 3 times speed, I had to wait a very long time. Those poor guests, I gotta tell you, they're just gonna be waiting hours for this. This seems to be, based off of me fast-forwarding it to get on it, a very long ride. So buckle up, make sure you have yourself a drink. This could be a doozy. I turned the reshade off because it was obviously ruining the pure blackness, but it did make us wait quite a while. The dancing ballroom. I think you could have elevated this ballroom a little bit, actually made it, you know, red carpets and some chandeliers, maybe a little throne at the end, a sitting area, some tables, that sort of thing. Some music. Okay, let's talk about it. I'm gonna be brutally honest. I feel like there just wasn't enough theming. A lot of these rooms are quite empty, and with the spooky, it can tend to be difficult, especially when you're doing these interiors. You need to bring up the elevation of these rooms and make them a little bit more spacious, and then just kind of push that theming a little bit forward. The dark areas were too long-lasting, and there wasn't enough kind of suspense. We need to build up that music, that hype. This whole room just has one spider and then the it thing, and it just makes these sections really drawn out and tedious, if I'm going to be completely honest. But it being your very first dark ride ever, I think you have to grow from that. You have to learn from that and maybe push yourself a little bit further in the future. But I mean, props to you for giving it a try. And, tackling the spooky pack I've seen in the past, like even the best builders in the community struggle with the spooky stuff. Mainly, it's hard to create good compositions because when you're building with all the spooky stuff, you don't really think to do a whole lot of elevation. You tend to go for like a flat little town and some graveyards, and they all do end up feeling pretty samey in that regards. So like in order to stand out as spooky, you have to like really elevate your own creations and monsters and put like a manor at the very top of a hill with, peering down at a city down below, and you have to really just take things to the next level. And there's not really a lot of good tips and pointers to making it good. Because I've noticed even with like master builds, there are times where it's just feeling pretty standard spooky, which, it's hard to stray away from the the norm in terms of spooky. You're trying it out, you're trying something new, and you're seeing how it goes with a very, very challenging pack to work with. So I always commend people that are trying new things, and that's very good. Let's see how the coaster is. All right, I definitely enjoyed the coaster. It is the hero of this creation, I would say. I like what you did with the supports, and traveling through the fog was an added factor of an added element of fun, which I personally enjoyed. Let's take a look at the park with no reshade on. This is default planet coaster, and like I said earlier, it's hard to build with these kind of pieces, the build set pieces, without them looking a little bit plain and flat. You have to try to find ways to do little manors, bell towers, balconies, rails, all that stuff, and try to cut off that flatness, create some elevation. You did a little bit of height back here with the terrain, which is going to definitely help you here. Some of these buildings, the park entrance, look pretty good. It's a good start for this pack. And like I said, this pack is very, very limited. I think the only way you can truly benefit from excelling with it, like we've seen in the past from certain legend and master builders, is by mixing it up with other things. I feel like the kit alone just doesn't have enough, and you really have to try to come up with some interesting concepts to use a mishmash of stuff put together. I love what you did with the go-karts. I really enjoyed that. Quite a long circuit too, now that we look at it. Pretty cool. Dark ride definitely needed some improvement, but hey, that's your first time trying a dark ride, so now you have some things to work on for next time. More detail, fill up those rooms, build some suspense, try playing around with some music and timing those triggers. But you also did say it was your first time playing with triggers, which can be tricky indeed. So I quickly reviewed just now your workshop because I remember your last creation, I think it was last year, you did the Prospectors Playland Contest Edition, which was a Western themed park. And I remember being really awed and awe-inspired by your creation with Prospectors Playland. And it just showed your growth in Planet Coaster and how far you've come. It was the best creation that you have done to date. And I think you did a lot of really strong details in your last year's submission. With that said, you've obviously found your mojo with the Western stuff and you really went all out with the details. Trying something new is going to hold you back in ways, but I think there's certain details and elements that you did with your path work, your buildings, your queues, your decorations, your compositions, your terrain work. There's a lot of things that you did with Prospectors Playland in last year's competition. Those elements could have been brought in over here. When you have little flat areas like this that don't have much detail, in your previous park, you said, hey, I gotta fill this up. I gotta do more here. And you should be applying those little lessons that you taught yourself to just pack things full of detail and carry that over here, even though you're trying out something new and you're trying out a new theme. Maybe the fact that you took on the dark ride and, you know, you're trying a new pack kind of distracted you a little bit and couldn't quite elevate things to your last year's creation. But with that said, whatever you did in last year's park, review that and compare it to this one and see what kind of elements you could have taken from that and incorporated here so that you could reach that level of detail again in the future, because I do think that was your strongest submission ever. Maybe keep practicing with the spooky pack and try to push things to that level, or go back and do what you're good at, and that's definitely Western, because that shined, and I thought you were going to definitely place top 5 last year, and maybe you possibly did. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember now. But I think this is a strong effort, Katerina, Kittycat. Keep your head up, keep building, keep having fun, and keep learning and growing, and enjoying the process of Planet Coaster. All right, what did you guys think of Katerina, Kittycat's Spookyville? Fire away down in the comments below, and that is going to do it for me in today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.